Hi, good evening. It's Wednesday evening, and this is Keto Confab. We meet every Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. Central Time, U.S. Central Time. And my name's Elizabeth Hanson, and I live in North Dakota. And yes, it's very cold out there. It was -7 an hour or so ago with the wind chill at -36. And so that's fun. And we have about 4 or 5 feet of snow out there, and we try and avoid it. Anyway, so for this week since our last meeting, I have started reading Dr. Boz's book, Any Way You Can, again. This is one of the ways I try and stay on the program is by reading the book I originally read that inspired me to totally change my life. And I, again, in rereading this book, am just so amazed about how easily she explains how what we're trying to do is change our body chemistry. We're not just trying to lose weight. We're not just doing the latest fad. We are trying to work with our personal body chemistry and get it to function for us and for our cells so that we can be the healthiest, most balanced people we can be. And I'm just so in awe of everything that Dr. Boz knows, and it just rolls off her tongue like mitochondria this and such cell that. It's just amazing to me, and I just have such respect for her and the program she's doing. And so the other thing I've done this week to help myself is I've been, I'll call it low class. I went to YouTube and I started watching a new YouTube series. Well, new to me, it's been there for several years. It's a British reality show called Secret Eaters. And what it is they find a couple or a family that say, we're fat, we're very fat, but we don't understand why we're fat. We eat good food and we exercise like crazy fiends, but yet we weigh 300 pounds. And so what they do is they have the people fill out a food diary, and then they put up cameras in their house and they tell them, we're going to watch every morsel that goes in your mouth for 5 days. And of course, the family agrees to it. But what the family doesn't know is they also have a couple of private eyes following them around town, and also sometimes put cameras up in where they work to see if they're eating at work and stuff. And so after 5 days, they come back together and they are shocked because these private eyes have been following them all around town when they go through the drive-through at McDonald's and pick up food, or they go into a bakery and get some scones or whatever. And there was this one man that he kept saying, all I eat is the natural food I have at home and stuff. And well, they found out that wasn't true because he'd stop into his favorite bakery every morning on the way to work, and he'd get 1,000-calorie bread thing stuffed with meat and cheese and veg and everything. Anyway, it's been fun and interesting and hilarious watching these people talk about how much they don't eat, and then you actually see all the secret food they're eating. This one lady didn't realize how many cookies she was eating in a day because she'd just have a few cookies with every cup of tea, but she'd have like 8 cups of tea a day. And so 3 or 4 cookies times 8 adds up to a lot of cookies. And this one man says, I eat a really healthy breakfast. I eat yogurt and Special K and fruit. Well, that he also poured double cream on top of it, and the whole bowl of everything he ate was like 1,500 calories, and that was his breakfast. And so, of course, this show goes by calories, and always are going, oh, that's too much fat, ugh, and everything. So if you're new to keto, I don't think it'd be a good idea to watch that show. But someone like me who likes to make fun of other people, and that's why I said this is a bad habit of mine, I like to go watch that show so that I can be going, oh, you can't eat that. That's all those carbs. Do you know how many carbs that has? And then I yell at the nutrition lady, the fats are fine. It's the carbs and stuff. But it's fun for me to make fun of these people on the television and point out where they went wrong. Anyway, so for our new people, like I said, I've been doing keto about a year and 4 months. I went on keto because my liver and kidney enzymes were bad and my cholesterol was bad, and I weighed 320 pounds. And I was coming up on my 60th birthday last summer, and I said, you know what, I got to do something to help myself. So I went on keto, and I've lost 100 pounds, and I got my liver enzymes back to normal, and my kidney enzymes back to normal. And my cholesterol is, meh. I mean, I'm fine with it, but my doctor's like, oh, 230, ooh. And I don't care. I'm going to ignore. And so that's my story. So anybody else have of our well-established people, anybody have any stories from this week? How did you do this week? Would you like to watch my funny show and make snide remarks at those people too? And what do you have to say? Okay, Tammy wants to say something.
So I went and had I forget what it's called, a coronary arteries calcium score.
Oh yeah, the CAC. Yeah,
I did.
Tell us about it.
I went and had my CAC this week, and my score is 0. And included, I also had a lipid panel test done.
Okay.
And so my HDL is 92. 92, that's pretty darn high. And my triglycerides are 49.
Oh, wow, great.
Yes. And my LDL is 148. So my total cholesterol is 250. So the nurse calls up from the doctor's office and says, Dr. Taylor thinks your cholesterol is too high. She wants you to take 10 milligrams of Crestor. And I said, no, thank you. I'm not doing that. And that was the end of that. I did not have my CAC score with that phone call, so I didn't know I was at 0, which I'll give to her. But anyway, I thought HDL at 92 and triglycerides of 49, that was like really good.
I think that's excellent, Tammy. And I watched a video this week where the doctor was sharing some research where he said that people with higher cholesterols actually did better in the long term than the people who have a cholesterol 165,
Yeah, you need the people that live the longest have the highest cholesterol. I mean, the people that have low cholesterol are not the ones that live the longest. And every cell in your body needs cholesterol, and your brain needs cholesterol. So why my husband's cholesterol is like something ungodly low because he takes drugs. And that's his choice to do that. I'm not saying anything about that choice, but if he knew all the stuff I knew, he probably would reconsider, but he doesn't know what I know, and he doesn't want to know what I know. So I don't tell him, and we just go on. He's not in a place to listen, so there's no sense talking. But
in one of the chapters I read this week, she talks about the benefits of cholesterol and how cholesterol is actually there to repair our tissues and heal us even from infection. Cholesterol helps us heal from infection. And I'm like, I'm going to have to write this stuff down or take a picture of the page and print it out for my doctor the next time I go in, and just tell her that, and that research paper, I haven't sent Scott the link to get it for me. I want to get that research paper and print it out and hand that to her, because it was, I mean, my mind was blown about the benefits of having a higher cholesterol and the dangers of taking the Questor and lowering it below 200. So, and when I get that and have the reference, I'll let you all know what it is, but I haven't gotten the link to the article itself yet. But I mean, this is just a racket at this point, trying to get our cholesterols down so low and fill us up with this drug that we really don't need. And
I think that the drug companies only could find drugs that would help lower your LDL. So they made it a standard that your LDL needs to be low, and anybody that has a high LDL needs to take my drug. When really that had no benefit, and it has no bearing on who has cardiac events, and protects you. Because if you look at the people who have heart attacks and so forth, they're not all people with high cholesterol. There's people with low cholesterol. I mean, that didn't protect you.
I seem to remember reading a report somewhere that stated that cholesterol also, you need the cholesterol for brain function, because if your cholesterol is too low, it can actually increase your chances for dementia, for Alzheimer's, and sundowners.
Yeah, but I was just listening to Dr. Oz blather on in a video yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, high cholesterol, that's what causes Alzheimer's." And I'm like, "No, dude, no, dude." I know, but it just makes me sad. How many ladies in the afternoon taking care of their kids when they've come home from school are listening to Dr. Oz going, "Oh, I better take that Questor and get my cholesterol down," and stuff. And it's just awful. And I mean, I have nothing personally against Dr. Oz, but when I heard that come out of his mouth yesterday on the video I was watching, I'm like, "Oh no, dude." So, Tammy, for the new people, tell them where you live and how long you've been doing keto.
I've been doing keto for almost 2 years. At this time, I did it a little bit before I started back up. And Becky's my sister, and I'm from Michigan, same as her. And I currently live in Mississippi.
Okay. All right.
And I have one more thing to say about my liver.
Sure.
So
sure.
I think I mentioned earlier that I was going off one of my medications, and I was going to wait 3 months and get tested again. And so I went to the doctor and got tested, but I don't have that test result back yet. But and then she just threw in the lipid panel. I didn't know that she was going to do that. And the same day that I did that, I went to and had my CAC score done, and they also sent me a lipid panel. So I had 2 of them done the same day. And the one that I had done with my CAC at the cardiologist, I've never seen this before. My cholesterol total was 249, and the numbers were a little bit different, but it says unable to calculate LDL due to low triglyceride value. My triglycerides were under 45 with them. They didn't give me a number. It just says under 45. And it said that unable to calculate LDL due to low triglyceride value. And I thought that was the strangest thing. I never heard that, because LDL is just a calculated thing, but it sounds like they couldn't calculate my triglycerides because it was too low. So I'm happy to have low triglycerides. So I'm not going to worry about it. The test results I gave you was from my other test from my doctor one, and they're close. So anyway, I thought that was just odd. But they did give me a number of 249, and my other doctor was 250. So they're really similar.
Yeah, very similar.
I gave blood within an hour for each one.
Yay, you were being a professional pincushion that day, huh?
I was, both arms.
Fabulous. Now, the CAC test that you had done, Tammy, how is that done?
So I took off my top and my bra and put on a gown, and I laid down in a in a big thing that I'm going to slide into. And he hooked me up to all kinds of electrodes on there. And I had to put my hands over my head, and I rolled into this big unit, and it would tell me, hold your breath. And it would tell me, let go of my breath. And it happened 3 times. I couldn't hold my breath so long. And the third one, it was like a long time. I thought she forgot. And then I came out, and then he did a ECG, I think it was, hooked up some stuff to those electrodes. And that was it. It only took, when I got back there, it probably only took 10 minutes or less. And you just lay it on a table and slid into a machine. So it was no big deal.
Okay. And it came back 0. That is so exciting. So
it was exciting because my husband had it and he was at 157, but he's got all kinds of, well, I don't think that's bad.
Oh, isn't it?
It could,
it's a lot bigger than yours. Okay.
Well, yeah, but it could be 500. It could be 1,000, I think. So,
okay.
I thought 157 was kind of not on the low side, but maybe in the medium.
I don't know the reference range.
I don't either, but I don't think it's bad, but it's not 0, but I didn't expect his to be 0. He's diabetic, high blood pressure, overweight, a lot of things. He had a heart attack when he was 24.
Oh my.
For some reason. Yeah, for some reason.
Does that run in his family?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So Renee, you want to tell us how your week went and introduce yourself to people because we got some new people here.
I had a feeling you'd call on me because you know how my week went.
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, I'm Renee. I live in Guthrie, Oklahoma, and Thursday of last week, I kind of had my regular keto diet and getting a hold of, believe it or not, some bad frozen Brussels sprouts. And I'm an acupuncturist by trade, so I had been treating patients all day. Anyway, so I had my regular meal, but I got hungry again, and I realized I hadn't had any vegetables, so I decided that I kind of wanted to get my veggies in for the day. And the Brussels sprouts just sounded good to me, so that's what I had. Add a little butter to them, get my fats in there. And literally within 30 minutes, I was in vomiting. And I thought, yeah, this is not good. And by the way, Brussels sprouts are not as good on the way up as they are down. So just FYI. So, and no, you don't need to experiment. Just trust me on this. So, I mean, it was not like I was being ill for hours and hours and hours. I probably only got ill 3 times. But it was a real violent episode. And I thought, wow, this is insane. But my thought was, when my kids had gotten the Delta variant several months ago, the only symptom they had was the regular flu symptom of vomiting. And I thought, oh, okay, maybe who did I get exposed to? Or do I have the flu? And I've been with patients all day. And so I went into the hospital and I said, look, guys, this isn't because I've been dehydrated and been doing this for hours. I said, but I am an acupuncturist. I've been treating patients all day, and I need to be tested to make sure I don't have the flu. I don't have COVID. I don't have Delta, because if I am, I have to get my patients informed right away. And they was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Well, all of my tests came back normal, and including the COVID. But he said, that was really good of you to come in. And he goes, honestly, I expected these test results to come back perfectly fine. He goes, as soon as you told me the time frame of when you got sick from when you ate, he said, that's like a hands down red flag. That goes, food poisoning. So yeah, typically if you eat something and you get sick within 30 minutes of eating it, it's typically food poisoning of some kind or food allergy, unbeknownst to me. Anyway, I got home and they had given me some nausea medication in the hospital, but I literally ended up sleeping all day Friday. I mean, all day. I maybe had half of this 32 ounces. So I maybe had 16 ounces of water all day. I mean, I just slept the whole day. And then Saturday, I slept about half the day, but I'm the music minister at my church as well. I'm bulletins and everything. So there were things that I had to get done for church Sunday morning. Got up, got that done. but I still had the queasiest stomach. I mean, nothing really sounded good to me. So I decided I was going to start with some beef broth, and I had 2 cups of beef broth, and then I had a cup of chicken broth later on. And then I probably downed about 32 ounces of water. So at least I was better hydrated on Saturday. I did not get back to feeling more like me until Monday. Although I did go to church, did start feeling a little bit better by the end of church. Sunday, I still had the crazy queasy feeling. But the worst part on Sunday was how badly my back hurt and how badly the front of my ribs hurt. Right under, if you were to be able to draw a straight line down your body from where the nipple sits up on the breast level, there's a point on your ribs right there. That is a stomach point. If you go right to the outside, about an inch outside, and again, right down the line of the ribs, that's a spleen point. Interestingly enough, both of those acupuncture points have to do with digestion. I thought, oh, okay, I love Chinese medicine. It's so cool because it confirmed what I was already going through. And so, but I really was not back to WA till probably yesterday, which was Tuesday, when I really actually felt good. I did go and see, I did have and see patients Monday, and I did see them Tuesday. I did see that. I actually saw one today. I thought I'd canceled them all, and there's this knock comes on my door. By the way, here. I'm like, huh? Because we got real bad sleep. We have like an inch or 2 inches of sleep here. So I kind of called on my patients and said, you know, unless you're feeling compelled, you can stay home. It's all good. But anyway, and so I haven't really checked my ketones or my blood sugars today, but I did on Friday, and I did on Saturday, and I did on Sunday. And I was very proud. My blood sugars were at like 84, fasting and non-fasting. I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. My ketones stayed right at a 0.9 or 0.8. So I was still in autophagy, however you pronounce that word. I'm terrible.
Autophagy.
Yeah. Anyway, but so I was still in a good level of that. So the nice thing is, I feel like what helped me was the recovery of that is because I had already been doing keto. My body was already used to a reduced food intake, well, you know, and a reduced sugar intake, a reduced carbohydrate intake. So it wasn't I don't think as bad of a shock to my system. So, you know, we're still trying to figure out why, you know, my muscles are so sore when I only got sick 3 times in a row. But again, I think that goes back to the fact that it was. Other than that, I guess that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh, I've been, because you always ask how long have I been doing keto? Let's see. I started in earnest doing keto 1 year and 7 days ago. In earnest. And I mean, I'd actually started in January, kind of, you know, half-assed doing it, but I really got hardcore 1 year and 7 days ago, and I've lost 80 pounds. And I haven't weighed since I got sick, but I probably dropped another 10 pounds.
Yeah. So congratulations on meeting your 1 year anniversary, Renee.
Thank you.
And just for those of us who, you know, for all of us who are keto, if we eat something other than meat, of course, it's going to be vegetables or nuts. And in recent years, Walmart and Target and a couple of other places have had recalls on some of their frozen vegetables because of Listeria and E. coli infections. And Renee is right. It happens just that fast, that you will eat it, and within 30 minutes, your body is like, oh no, that is not good. It's out of here. And the body, when it has a mind to get stuff out of your stomach, it wants it out, and it wants it out now. So I'm not surprised by your sore muscles, Renee. And so
just so shocked at how violent it was. I mean, I've gotten sick from, eating the wrong foods in the past. I mean, years ago, sick. But this, I mean, I apologize. I'm not trying to gross people out, but I felt like I was trying to throw up my toes.
that would be a real thing we'd want to see on video, Renee, if you could get your toes to come up and out.
But it's complete inside out sensation. And I've never experienced that before.
Yeah. So Julie or Patricia, say hello to the new peeps. Patricia's going to go.
Hi, I'm Patricia and I live near Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was part of Dr. Boz's first class. I think that was late spring of 2019. So before that, I had been following her on YouTube. And before that, I had done another program. So I was had already gotten rid of processed food out of my diet, but it was the Dr. Boz program that explained to me about the importance of the keto. And for me, my why is the fear of Alzheimer's. I have my father and 3 of my aunts had it. So I have some great news.
Yes.
I told you all weeks ago that I had an aversion to fasting. And then I told you about Dr. Jaman.
Yep.
And sure enough, I did it. Sunday night, I stopped eating about 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, and I didn't eat anything until Tuesday morning.
Wow.
So that's a 36-hour fast.
How'd you feel?
I lost 5 pounds, folks. So, I had evidently a lot of stall built up in me. So it was really, it's a great breakthrough, and I'm intending to try to do it again this week. Number 2, I have the Dr. Boz, both of the hard copies. And then I was lucky enough one night to win the audio copy when she does her Sunday night program. I was the audio copy of the Keto Continuum. And to my surprise, my husband says, "Hey, I think I want to read that book now." So he gets up at 2 in the morning and he reads for an hour and a half every night. And he's like 100 and something pages into the Keto Continuum. And I don't know how many of y'all have read the book, but it's so cute. Like every lunch or dinner, he said, or whenever I see him, he says, that David, he's something else, isn't he? So
yeah, I love Dave's story.
I'm reliving the book with him. It's so cute. And then he says to me, you don't let me eat any vegetables, but Dr. Boz says some vegetables are okay. So now he's throwing some of the stuff back in my face, So I said, just keep reading. So it's really great, to have, first of all, that he was willing to, he's 6'3" and he's about 220. So he maybe could lose 20 pounds, but at 73 years old, I'm not going to push him to do it. But he likes the idea of eating 2 meals a day. He likes that. So I'm so happy about that. But more importantly is that I had a breakthrough with the fat. Also, I want to commend you, Tammy, for doing that CAC exam.
Yes. Woot.
When my doctor looked at my blood panel, he says, we got to talk about this cholesterol. It's getting a little high. I said, well, doctor, I've been listening to another doctor online, and I think that because my triglycerides are fine and my LDL, my HDL is fine. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah. That I think I want to do that CAC exam. And he looked at me, he says, well, he said, it's true. He said that CAC exam, that will also tell us if you have a problem, you've a coronary problem. He said, yeah. He said, it's not free. He says, but I'll approve it if you'd like. So he did. It cost me $100. But, it's just a CT scan, and they told me I'd be done in 2 minutes, and I was done in 2 minutes. I didn't even have to take my blouse off. They just pushed it down here. They put a couple of, electro measures.
Electrodes or something, yeah.
And it was a 2-minute exam, and I had the results within a few days. And so, and then, I told my brother, I'm one of 9 children. And I said, you need to do that CAC exam, because his wife is always telling him that, he's got to watch his cholesterol and everything. And I said, so he took his, and he had a CAC of 2. So he called me up. He said, well, that sounds pretty. I said, listen, they all say if it's under 100, you're fine. No problem at all. It's when you get over 100 that they start being concerned about it. So Tammy did the right thing. I don't know how expensive it was for you, but it was worth it. That peace of mind is worth a lot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're muted, Tammy.
I could have gotten a doctor's order and they wouldn't have done the lipid panel, and that would have been $50. But I thought I would go ahead and do the lipid panel. I didn't know my doctor was going to do it on the same day, or I wouldn't have. And since I did that and got extra stuff, it was $100, just like yours was. So it was comparable, but I got maybe a few extra things than what you did if you just got the CAC score. And I was happy to get my lipids because, the last time they were 278 and now they're 250. And she tried to put a statin on me the last time too. My notes say all over my chart, patient refused, patient refused, patient refused.
Yeah, that's what my chart looks like. Patient refused, patient is not willing, patient won't.
But I teach in the healthcare industry, and that covers their butt in case you get something and you sue them.
Yeah.
But every time the subject comes up now, just say, doctor, look at my CAC results.
Well, I have to give them to her because the cardiologist I went to doesn't automatically send them to him because, I did it myself. It wasn't a doctor's orders. So I'll take it to her and say, my HDL is 95, my triglycerides are 48, and my CAC is 0. I am not taking the statin.
Yeah. God forbid you would have to educate your doctor on what another doctor has said to you. That is insane.
Yeah. So Patricia, what was your CAC number?
0.
Okay, fabulous. And your brother's was 2. Now, is your brother doing keto?
No. He exercises quite a bit, and his wife keeps him on very low fat, a lot of cottage cheese and stuff, As a matter of fact, she's doing something, I can't remember what's called. It's one of those things like OptiFast used to be, where you drink 3 shakes a day and you have 1 meal a day. And, he told me, he's on the side, he said, I wish she would stop it because she hasn't made a decent meal in 6 months. Is
it Herbalife?
No, it has another, is it Questor or something like that? I can't remember the name, but it went right through me because I did OptiFast 20 years ago, and I got my certificate that I lost the 50 pounds, but it was useless because I gained back.
I like to drink shakes. I have a shake a lot of times for lunch, and I add protein to it, so it's like 50 grams of protein on my shake. And then I have a dinner. It's convenient.
Hey, Patricia and Tammy, the CAC stands for coronary artery, what?
Calcium.
And it's actually an imaging program where they go and they look at your coronary arteries to see if they are blocked, and then they determine how blocked they are. And the higher the number, the more blocked they are.
Well, I think they look for calcium
buildup.
up.
Yeah.
Dr. Germondes explains that in that same video I gave you all last week.
Oh, okay.
He said it's very non-invasive. Very non-invasive.
Oh, yeah.
Not too much radiation going on there.
Yeah. I think I'd like to do that, but I want to wait a little bit more, because, you know, Dr. Boz says don't ever do it before you've been good keto for 6 months. And I don't know, I want to go a year and 6 months. So Melody is asking, what is the significance? Well, the significance of the test is that if you have calcium built up on the inside of your arteries, you're going to get an arterial block. And that's when they do bypasses, et cetera, et cetera. And
well, the way Dr. Germondes explains it is that, you know, if you have high LDL, they always figure that you have plaque buildup. And they, without testing, they just figure it. They just, you know, assume it. But if you do the CAC exam, it cancels that fear, because if you don't have calcium buildup, you probably don't have plaque buildup, or you're pretty sure don't have plaque buildup. So you don't have that worry about the LDL causing a plaque buildup.
Yeah. Now,
One
Melody,
thing I kind of wanted to mention, because you were talking about heart disease and stuff. My dad learned this the hard way. If they ever do have to go in and do your heart and they offer an angiogram or an angioplasty, do not do the angioplasty, because they will no longer insure you against heart attack. They will cancel your insurance.
Really? Why?
Because what an angioplasty does is they put a balloon up in there and they stretch that artery. So they have, in essence, now weakened it because they stretched it from the inside out. They're compressing everything against the walls to stretch that artery out. So it can cause weakened areas within the artery. So that means that your artery is no longer 100% competent on its own to not burst.
And so then you just get some sort of notification from your insurance company that, well, since you've done this, we're not going to insure you for, well,
my dad, they never told my dad that could happen. And he said, had I known that, he goes, I would have instead done the angioplasty, the angiogram, because the angiogram would not have done, would not have affected his insurance at all.
I think the angiogram is a test to see how blocked your arteries are, but the angioplasty is what they use to open it. Isn't that right, Julie?
I believe so.
Yeah. So the plasty is the procedure to open the artery after it's been blocked, but the gram is just checking to see if the artery is blocked. Now,
the one he was talking about, they actually go in and they scrape the inside of it versus using a balloon to expand it. Becky, do you know?
Oh, yeah. That's Julie, what's the term? Or Becky, do you know?
Usually gram means it's just a measurement of some kind.
Right. But there is a procedure where they go in and they scrape plaque rather than, it's a stripping thing, but I can't remember what it's called.
If he had that instead of the angioplasty done, his insurance wouldn't have been affected at all.
Yeah.
Sad.
It's very sad. Melody's saying it's called a cardiac ablation. No, I think I'm not sure. I think a cardiac ablation is when they actually go into the heart muscle and burn a part of the heart muscle, because that particular part of the heart muscle is sending off a signal, and people are getting atrial fib. and irregular heartbeats and stuff like that. So I think cardiac ablation.
Yeah, I just Googled it. The ablation is correcting the electrical pathway, which is exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. But I mean, they could, going into an artery and doing an ablation, I don't know, because ablations kill off cells and stop the elasticity of a particular area. And I mean, our blood vessels need to be elastic and stuff. So now, Becky, you say you work in healthcare. What part of healthcare do you work in?
I'm a certified medical biller and coder, and I teach coding. So I did, and I teach anatomy and things like that. So,
well, I'm in natural health care too. I don't do acupuncture like Renee, but I'm in natural health care, and I used to be a midwife. I'm not a practicing midwife anymore. But I work with a lot of anatomy and stuff. And
then I've worked for a chiropractor for 25 years, and I work from home, and my job moved with me. So I'm still with my chiropractor, and I teach both.
Oh, fabulous. And Dr. Hanson used to teach anatomy and physiology, but he's not teaching anatomy and physiology right now. He's doing mammology and general biology. And what's the other thing you're doing? I thought you were supposed to teach genetics this semester.
Genetics.
Yeah, I won't teach genetics till next year, it turns out. But yeah, genetics, molecular biology, invertebrate biology, and entomology too.
Yeah.
The idiot that I am with the Sam Hill is mammalogy.
The study of mammals.
I kind of thought maybe so, but I was like on.
Yeah. And then Becky, Julie, who's gone off the screen, she's an EMT. And so that's why I was asking her if she knew, because she knows a bunch of stuff.
It says online that it's an anthectomy or something like that is how they scrape it.
Oh, anthectomy. Okay.
Anthectomy. Right. Yeah. It's called, they're talking about it being, is it better than the angioplasty, doing it that way by scraping the plaque out, or yeah.
I personally, I just want to stay away from all of those procedures.
Yeah, me too.
I would rather do my keto diet than have to decide whether I'm doing an angioplasty or an what was that again, Julie?
Atherectomy.
Atherectomy.
Something like that, yeah.
Or an angioplasty. I'd rather eat keto.
Yeah. It sounds more enjoyable in the long run.
Yeah. So I want to throw this out to Melody. Melody typically can't be on video with us because of the way her computer and everything's set up, but she does chat with us. Now, Melody, correct me if I'm wrong. Did your father have a heart attack? Was it last year and passed away? And did he have high cholesterol, or did he have a history of heart disease? And because I know you've been concerned about getting too high a cholesterol on keto, or how, 2 years ago, he died of a sudden cardiac arrest. Okay. And you've been concerned because besides him, there's other family that have a history of cardiac issues and stuff. So when Melody's only been on keto for a short time, I think we made it to 4 months. I think Melody's at 4 months. So when we get to, a year, maybe, Melody, you would want to go and do the CAC for yourself. But I would wait definitely a year. Let your body have that year to heal and stabilize and everything. 2 months and 2 weeks she's been keto. So Julie, you're unmuted. Tell us about your week and anything you want to share.
Well, I had a forced fast. I have not felt well for 3 days, 4 days, something like that. And my stomach just said, okay, no food today. I went, all right. And the next day it said, no food today either. I went, all right. And today I tried coffee, keto coffee, cream and butter in it. Yeah, I don't know if that was a good choice or not. Had some Brazil nuts. I said, I think that's enough of that. And then I had my husband bring home some yogurt and took some chia seeds with it to try to help with the diarrhea. Well, I was 43 hours fasted and thankfully never was very like, oh, I'm starving. If that's the way it is when you really do it on purpose, that'd be great. I've been doing keto again, second round since August. I've lost, well, if you go with the weight loss in 3 days, I've lost 56 pounds so far, and about 10 pounds from my ideal body weight. I eat mainly 1 meal a day. I usually stay within 4 hours of an eating window. I enjoy that time limit at work. Really seems to work well for me because I work EMS and you never know when you're going to get to eat. You never really know if you're going to consume all of your calories within a certain timeline. But if I keep it a 4 to 6 window, then it works pretty good most of the time, unless you're on a transfer to Bismarck, Grand Forks, or Fargo, 4 hours away, something like that. So I had lost quite a bit of weight when I did it the first time, but I didn't really have any support group, didn't really know about doing a support group, didn't know who else was doing it except for my oldest daughter, and got into a carb addiction one weekend when I didn't have any choices of food to eat, and that was the end of that for probably, I don't know, I think it was 1.5 years, 2 years. And then my weight shot up, and at 200 pounds, I said, that's enough. I'm going to do it again. And then that's when Dr. Boz came out with her new book and her workbook, and found this group. Becky and I kind of talked together before it started, and I'm supposed to be a co-host, but I think Becky does an awesome job, and my schedule, my life doesn't always work for me to be here every night. So I appreciate Becky's attendance with it, and that she takes care of us all. I have not had any CAC testing done. My doctor didn't really complain a whole lot when my cholesterol was over 300 when I went in about a month after starting this, just because that was my yearly checkup for work.
Julie and I live about 26 miles apart, and we've known each other like 24 years or so, and our kids grew up together. And she saw that I was losing weight, and she's like, oh, I did keto, I lost weight, maybe I should do this. And we both turned 60 this last year. And so us old gals decided we should turn our lives around and get on the straight and narrow of
right.
how we're eating and everything. But then the end of last year, she called me up and she said, so you're going to do a support group? And I'm like, well, I've been thinking about it, but I'm real nervous about doing it. And, well, I'll do it with you. And I'm like, okay. And so I set it all up because I have Zoom to do through work and everything. So I set it all up, and I showed up and she didn't. And then I showed up again and she still didn't. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm stuck doing this. And yes,
you're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Oh, thanks. Keep it. I really wish we could do a knowledge transplant between Dr. Boz and me. I just would love to take all of her knowledge and just chunk it into my head so that I could just roll off numbers and everything like she does. I mean, this week rereading that very first book that turned me on to her and her class and doing keto and everything. It's just been, I mean, there have been times listening to it again, I've gotten tears in my eyes over, it's like, man, why didn't I know this 40 years ago? You know, I could have saved myself a whole lot of pain. And the other thing is I'm trying to go to the next step, to offering keto encouragement to my clients, because I work with a lot of people with MS and Parkinson's and ADHD and heart disease, hypertension, diabetes. I haven't figured out how, not being Dr. Boz and not having the wealth and depth of information she has, how I'm going to, you know, put this into my practice, because so many of my clients need this. And so until I figure that out, I'm here still trying to figure me out. And so anyway, Christine, you've unmuted yourself. Talk to us.
I was wondering what Dr. Boz's books are. I know she has that one where is this story about her mother, but what seems like there were several other books.
Let me grab them. I've got them here. Just a second. Gotta get to them. So the one I'm rereading this week is the book Any Way You Can, which is the story about her mother, which to me, I mean, it spoke to me as a healthcare worker who works with people with lots of different issues. This book really spoke to me that, you know, yes, it's about her mother's journey with cancer, but this can help so many other people: diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, heart disease, you know, ADHD and Alzheimer's and stuff. And then her next book was called Keto Continuum. And I just have the workbook here, Keto Continuum. And the book is called Keto Continuum. And then this one is Keto Continuum Workbook. And the story of Keto Continuum is the story of a man named Dave. That's not his real name, but he is a real person, who met Dr. Boz and learned her story and decided to just do it. And she goes through his story, all of his fumbles and his successes and his struggles. And she tells his story, and through his story, she teaches anyone else how they can do this lifestyle. And she produced the workbook, which I've cut the spine off of and put into a 3-ring binder. The workbook is a step-by-step guide of how to do keto and how to avoid many of the problems that we all can get into, like keto flu and you know, not feeling well, not getting enough protein, whatever, and how to avoid all of those problems, and also how to keep your records so you can say to yourself, look, I'm doing this and I'm doing it right. And I'm taking care of myself, because I don't know if many of you saw the chat. Melody was saying that, you know, sometimes she feels like I must be doing this wrong or I'm going to fail. But seeing her numbers, her ketone numbers and her blood sugar numbers and everything really encourages her and keeps her going. And that's the same with me. I mean, even when I have a slip up, a client of mine gave me some chocolate yesterday, some dark chocolate, as a thank you. And she doesn't know I'm keto and that I shouldn't be eating candy. She was being sweet. And so I had dark chocolate yesterday. Well, my ketones are today, of course, because I had chocolate. But even when I slip up, I know how to get my ketones back up. I know what I did. I know what I've done to my body. And the nice thing is my blood sugar is fine. And I needed to worry about my blood sugar because I was borderline diabetic before I started this. But I really love the workbook. I cut one copy up and put it in here so that I can photocopy things to share with people, or to use as examples, or scan it to put into what's that called, a PowerPoint. But I do have a regular copy around here somewhere, who knows. But those are her two books. They're both available hardcover, paperback, on Kindle and Audible. I love the Audible versions of both of her books. She reads her books, and in the second book, David's story, a Keto Continuum, when she gets to the part of the book where her mother actually passes away from COVID, I mean, I'm just boo-hooing and everything because of her mother's passing from COVID. And I love listening to her because, man, she's, to me, her voice is enthusiastic and inspiring. And that's one reason I keep both of her books on my tablet downloaded, so that no matter where I am, I can get to Dr. Boz in a minute and listen to her. And I alternate between the two books, listening to them, just to keep myself on the straight and narrow. And maybe someday I'll absorb enough to where I have numbers just popping out of my head at appropriate times. So
That's
And you might
fantastic.
absorb the fact that you shouldn't eat chocolate.
pardon?
And you might absorb the fact that you shouldn't eat chocolate.
Oh, now, see, Julie, the thing is I've absorbed the fact I shouldn't. It's just that I don't follow through. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, but I didn't go crazy. I didn't eat the whole, she gave me 2 bags of chocolate. I didn't eat the whole things. I ate a
You just ate
serving.
one?
Pardon?
Oh, you just ate one bag?
No. No. No, I ate 1 serving. And it was delicious. But anyway.
I jokingly tell people I have will and I have power, but I do not have willpower.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have a will.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, well, it's a little after 8, and I know a number of people are not in my time zone and they like to go to bed. So are there any other pressing questions or comments people need to make or anything? Yes,
I'll just say
Tammy.
something really quick. I am wearing my continuous glucose monitor. It's only been a few days. My first 2 days were wildly inaccurate. Today is the first day I feel that it's doing good, and I will talk more next week.
Okay, good. We're looking forward to that, Tammy. And anything else from anybody?
Regarding salt and Dr. Boz having us do the Redmond salt, I already am taking and have taken for many years is colloidal minerals from the Redmond mines.
Okay.
So I just, yeah. And those are amazing to me. If I have leg cramps, just take a capsule, put it on my tongue, and they're gone within 2 minutes.
Mhm.
But the salt, me taking the salt, I was a little concerned about that because I've taken Himalayan salt in the past and it raised my blood pressure. My blood pressure normally is 115/70 something. Yeah, yesterday my blood pressure was 177/110 after taking salt for 4 days. So we made some calls and decided salt is not, I don't need that. So apparently if it tastes really, really salty to you, you're satiated as far as salt.
The interesting thing, Christine, is just today I was listening to that part about salt in Dr. Boz's book. And she said at the beginning of this, if you have hypertension, you're probably going to flip out that I'm telling you to put salt in your water and salt. And she says, but once you get into ketosis and you change your body chemistry, then the salt will be fine and it will be to your body's liking. So you're still at the beginning here. So somewhere down the line, you may want to add salt. But right now, you've got to follow what your body's telling you, and your body's definitely telling you something if your blood pressure is up to 170. So, so right now I'd say you're doing the right thing, being careful with the salt, but somewhere down the line, just be open to the fact that your body may want more salt later. And that's an okay thing. And I'm glad you have the minerals with the Redmond company and everything. I don't know what all minerals are in there, but if they seem to make your body feel better and you're not having the cramping, then that's what they're for. So, that's good.
They're amazing. The other thing that was happening at the same time is my skin super dry. And even if I put water on it, it burns.
Ooh.
So, yeah. So I don't know what that has to do with keto or salt or whatever.
Well, your skin is going to change. And I was listening to the portion of the book where it was talking about the skin changing with keto. It takes about 2 months from the time you start keto to where all of the skin that you had before you started keto is gone and you're into your new keto driven skin. So keto isn't causing your skin to be dry yet because you haven't been there 2 months yet. So, but it's coming because keto does help skin. We have an adult disabled daughter that lives with us who is having terrible acne, just awful. And, we would clean and clean and clean her face. And we tried to I tried to cut out fat from her diet a few years ago, thinking that would do it, but no. And then we found out she was just producing so much testosterone. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do about that? And they're like, well, we could give you birth control pills, but she doesn't take pills. You can't get her to take pills. And so can't do that. But keto has cleared up her skin. But whenever she gets stuff that isn't keto, or she has a day of high carbs, she'll get a breakout here or there, but nothing like she used to have. I mean, her skin is scarred. And hopefully keto will heal that skin over time, because it does change your wrinkles and your lines in your face over time to where you look younger. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to looking younger. So, Renee.
One of the other things that you might consider is do a Google search and find foods that are naturally moisturizing to the body. Because part of the problem when our skin is dry on the outside is that it's not receiving moisture from the inside of the body. Even if we're drinking lots of water and all this other stuff, for whatever reason, that moisture on the inside is not being transferred from the inside core into the exterior, because your skin is the largest organ in your body. So if you can find foods that are moisturizing to the body, but also keto friendly, I would probably bump those up in the number of times I have those, and that might truly help you.
Oh, thank you. Moisturizing keto foods.
Yeah, moisturizing keto foods. All right, anybody else, anything else? Or I can end the recording and we'll be done for this evening, and hope you guys will come back next week and see what Tammy has to tell us about continuous glucose monitoring. And any other foibles, or if I find some other British show to watch with people I can make fun of, and tell them what they're doing wrong, and everything. Anybody, anything else? Anything on chat? I'll scroll down and see. Does it do that to the eyes? Yes, Melody. Staying keto helps renew all of our cells of our body, because it actually works down into the mitochondria of the body. People have been able to reverse cataracts just by going keto. So there's hope for our eyes too. She's had dry eyes for the last month. Well, hold on. Keto help's coming, but just keep up your fluids and don't hold your eyes open in the wind.
Part of those dry eyes is because we are in wintertime and we have our internal heat on and we are indoors more than outdoors. And so therefore, because we've raised the temperature in our homes and most of us don't use a humidifier, even though it's the winter time. And so your inside air is now more dry. If you bump the heat up inside your house, that can also be a factor.
Okay, Melody says, no, it's not the weather, it's different. So anyway, all right, I'm going to turn off the recording if I can find it. I think it's here. All right.
Everyone.
Good night, everyone.